Hi, everyone. Happy week 5 of the challenge. I apologize for getting you this video so late. I have actually been trying to record it all morning. This is my 4th time recording it, and I have stopped and paused and taken breaks because it hasn't been perfect. I kept messing up. So it's really kind of ironic that this talk is on the perfectionist mindset because I definitely had it in relation to this video. So I am just going to keep rolling with this no matter how much I fumble and mess up my words, because it's obviously hurting me and it's hurting you guys because you haven't gotten the video yet. So week 5, we have gone through 4 weeks of talking about developing your habits and healthy habits in relation to food, improving your overall relationship with food. I think you all are doing an amazing job. And I really want to encourage you all to use these final 2 weeks to really dial everything in, pay attention to all the behaviors we've been working on, follow your action steps every day for the next 2 weeks. Kind of go time in the challenge. Like, this is where, everything is coming to a culmination of everything we've been talking about. So let's really go for it and hit it these next 2 weeks. So let's get into talking about the perfectionist mindset. I definitely have one a lot of the time, and it really sets me back. So I want to talk about what it is and what you can do to accept not being perfect and how that's really going to set you up for long-term success. Going to start, see, come on, there we go. Nope, there it is. With a quote from probably one of the smartest men to have ever lived, Stephen Hawking. One of the basic rules of the universe is that nothing is perfect. Perfection simply doesn't exist. Without imperfection, neither you nor I would exist. A little deep for a Monday morning, but I think it goes to show everything I'm going to be talking about is that none of us were made to be perfect. We are all very, very, very imperfect. And if you learn to accept this, that this is how you were meant to be and not try to be perfect, you're going to be more successful in life rather than constantly setting yourself up for failure if you're trying to be perfect. So what does it mean to be a perfectionist? Perfectionism is actually a personality trait. You could call it a personality flaw, if you will. It's really characterized by a person striving for flawlessness. This leads to this person setting very high standards for themselves, very unrealistic standards. You set goals that are not really realistic to reach, goals for your behaviors. This kind of thing doesn't only come into play when you talk about nutrition and fitness. It's really anything in life. If you're striving to be this perfect person, you're really setting those unrealistic standards for yourself. And it's not only for yourself, but it's for those around you as well. So you expect, a certain person in your life to act a certain way, how you expect them to act. And when they don't, that can cause a lot of conflicts, in your interpersonal relationships, in everything in life. So this isn't just applicable to your fitness and nutrition goals, but it's really something that can apply to everything in your life, in all of your relationships in your life. If you set these really high standards for yourself, you tend to be very critical on how you talk to yourself and how you kind of evaluate. You're constantly going through your behaviors and your actions, saying this is good, this is bad. So going back to, the whole morality of food talk of good versus bad, you have that assessment on your behaviors. So it's almost like an endless report card on your entire life, which can be very draining. Perfectionists tend to work towards avoiding failure rather than achieving success. So although most of the goals are, driven by success, and you want to accomplish certain things, having certain things, but you are really trying to work just towards avoiding failure rather than actually working towards your goals. You just don't want to fail at your goals. It leads to a very unhealthy comparison with other people around you. So you see, this person in your office has done X, Y, and Z, and you don't know why you can't do that too. So it leads to a lot of negative self-talk and really feeling down about yourself because you're constantly comparing yourself to others. And it also leads you to be working to try to please others, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if it's your driving force for most of your behaviors is trying to make other people happy, then this is not a very positive, trait to have in your life. A good example of this would be, that mom on Facebook who is trying to portray that she has this perfect life with a perfect husband and perfect kids, and only posts, the perfect happy smiling pictures, and the pictures of the perfect birthday party, and you look and you go, wow, she has all of her life together. She's such a great mom. She, making all the treats for the parties. But in real life, that person is only posting those pictures to get your acceptance and your likes on Facebook, so that, they're feeling fulfilled as a person, as a mother, as a wife, if they can show all the things that they're doing. But we all know that's not real life. We all know the struggles, but no one is really portraying that on social media. They're just going to put out there the good stuff, trying to please you, essentially. So there's a lot of bad things that can happen when trying to be a perfectionist. For example, me trying to do this video today, and it's not perfect, and I have now delayed doing it for 3 hours that I have been sitting here trying to do it. The biggest thing is that you're really setting these unrealistic expectations of yourself. You're basically setting yourself up for failure. If you set these huge goals that you came into this challenge expecting to lose 20 pounds over 6 weeks, that's a pretty unrealistic goal. And that's why when we were setting our goals at the beginning, I wanted to keep them realistic because I want to keep your mindset positive. So whether you lost 6 pounds over the 6 weeks, which is incredible, but you didn't lose 20, you're going to view that as a failure because you set too high of expectations for yourself across this challenge. And that goes for pretty much any goals you're setting for yourself in life. If you are trying to be this perfect person, this unattainable person, you are always going to be viewing yourself as a failure. This is going to lead to very low self-esteem. If you are only focusing on the negatives of, never hitting this goal that you set for yourself, you're never going to feel that great about yourself. That's why I really like to celebrate the small wins every time I talk to any of my clients, because that positive self-talk is what's going to be a driving force to continuing to work towards your goals, rather than viewing everything as a negative, which can then, take away your motivation, take away that momentum, and you really end up stuck in a rut and not able to move forward. Trying to be a perfectionist promotes procrastination. This is me. If you can't be super good at a task, you tend to not want to do it because you don't know how to just be okay at something. This was me in college, for sure. So I have always been one of those people that studying and tests and academics have come fairly easy to me. I never really had to study to get good grades. And then enter chemistry of my sophomore year at Penn State, and I sucked at it. And instead of working harder to be just okay at chemistry, I chose to hide my chemistry book under my couch until the night before the exam because I knew I wasn't going to do well and it was hard, so I just avoided doing it. So instead of setting like a realistic expectation that it's okay to maybe study and get a C, if I couldn't get that A in chemistry, I just chose not to work towards it. And it really affected me. I ended up changing my major because I couldn't pass chemistry. I failed and I didn't want to take it anymore. So I changed my major to avoid doing the hard things. So if you're setting these huge lofty goals for yourself and really trying to be that perfect person, which is not going to happen, you might kind of put off doing a certain task just because you are not perfect at doing it. It really promotes the all or nothing mentality. So you see this a lot during the holiday season. If you may have seen my Instagram post about, there's 200 meals between now and Christmas, and only 15 of those meals are, specific holiday meals. So most people wait until January to start their diets, their resolutions, because they can't be perfect over the next 2 months. So if they can't be perfect, that means they're just going to wait and not try and be good enough over the next 2 months. So it really promotes the either you're on track, off track mentality. So that's why I've been saying this whole time, I'm taking away that track. It's not all or nothing. Sometimes doing something is better than doing nothing. It also promotes this Monday morning mentality. It's what happens on the weekends. If you can't control every aspect of your nutrition or your, exercise routine on the weekends because you're going out to dinner, you have a party, you just choose to do nothing at all and then start over on Monday morning. So those are the things I've been trying to get you guys to think about and to move away from, to this challenge. But we're really putting a name on it today. And it's really living in this imperfect world that we all do, accepting ourselves as imperfect people with imperfect nutrition. That is what's going to allow us to move forward with our life and still meet our goals. So how do you stop trying to be perfect? It's really easier said than done, but the first thing you have to do is accept that failure will be a part of the process. If you are not failing, you are not trying. You all are learning new skills across the 6 weeks, whether it's even as something as little as drinking, 50 ounces of water. That's a new skill that you're trying to incorporate into your life. Maybe some days you drink 30, maybe some days you drink 60. It's not always going to be that perfect balance, but you're trying to incorporate it more. You're trying to develop that habit. So learning new habits, like the habit of hunger cues, you're not going to get it right every time. And you're never going to get it right every time, even when it is a habit and it's really something you're dialed into. You're going to have those times when you eat when you're not hungry, and you're going to have those times when you eat too much and you're full after. I do it, multiple times a week. As much as I practice it and I'm really tuned into my hunger cues, I overeat, and it happens. But you have to accept that failure is going to be part of the process. To that same tune, you need to celebrate your successes, no matter how small. This is why every time I start my meetings with my clients with, tell me what's been going really well for you. Because most times I ask people, if I just say, how are things going? Everyone wants to shoot out with me, oh, well, I ate this many candy last weekend. I ate pizza. I drank too much. I didn't meal prep last week, and immediately go into the negatives. But out of your whole span of your week, if those were 3 instances, tell me more about what you did really well, the other 20 instances that you could choose between healthy behaviors and non-healthy behaviors, because that's more telling to me than those 3 times that you maybe didn't do so well. Then we can move into talking about your struggles. You can learn from your failures, from your struggles every single time. What can you do differently next time? So whether it is, you ate too much Halloween candy, great. That was one day out of your week, out of last week. What did you do really well? If you ate too much Halloween candy, then maybe it, what you could learn from that is that you've been restricting yourself from having candy that you enjoy, and you want to try and incorporate that and normalize that into your everyday meal plan. So that's something you can learn from it. If you're continually making the same mistake or having the same failure over and over, that's when it gets to be a choice, because you're not learning from it. So it's all in what you do and how you view it. So positive self-talk. I know I'm kind of like overly hyper about trying to like really focus on the positive, and it's not, I'm a positive person, but I can get very overwhelmed by the negative and very self-deprecating with the negative. So that's why I really try and, sometimes for people, maintenance is a win. If you didn't gain weight a week, I'm going to celebrate that. If you go and have one donut and stop at that, I'm going to celebrate that, because maybe that's more of a success than just avoiding the donut altogether, but it's showing that you've made that improvement with your relationship with food, that you can stop at one donut and enjoy it. So sometimes having the donut is a success. You want to set small goals for yourself so that you're achieving them and hitting success. So that way at the end of the day, you're like, yep, I did all these things today. I'm awesome. Instead of going, oh, I tried to go to the gym and run 5 miles and only eat chicken and broccoli and meal prep for the next 5 days, and I didn't do any of that, and you go to bed feeling like a failure. I want you to rather just say, you know what, I'm going to write a meal plan for today, and I'm going to take a walk around the neighborhood for 10 minutes. And you can go to sleep at night thinking, I was so successful with my small goals. Realize that something is better than nothing. So this is really, really, really important for the weeks where you are finding it hard to come to the gym. So maybe you can't get here for a full CrossFit class, but maybe you can do a quick little 10-minute body weight circuit while you're watching TV at night, that you get up during the commercials and do squats and lunges and push-ups. That's a success. Like, realize that 10 minutes is better than doing nothing and then feeling like a failure, but you still had some intentional movement into your day. Same thing with your nutrition. If you're not able to control, say you're going to a buffet dinner and you have zero control over what you eat that night, instead of saying, well, I have no control, I'm just going to eat everything, you can say, well, I'm still going to follow my hunger cues. I'm going to take a little bit of all this food and I'm going to stop when I'm full. That something is better than throwing everything out the window and just, eating like an a-hole that night. You want to revisit your why often and make changes to it as necessary. And I say this because sometimes we are shifting our why through our, journey to be something that's going to please others. I have worked with a few clients who are so kind of set on pleasing me that they're not remembering why they started in the first place. And it can come to like, oh, I'm trying to do this for you, I don't want to let you down. It's like, your journeys have nothing to do with letting me down. It all has to do with why you started it in the first place. So if you're trying to be perfect for someone other than yourself, you need to go back, rewind, start from the basics, and talk about why you wanted to make this change in the first place. So that's why it's really important to kind of constantly be revisiting your why and checking in and making sure you're still hitting it for all the right reasons. I've said this before, I'll say it again, it is 100% what is going to lead you to long-term success. Consistency. What you are consistently doing most days of the week is more important than the days that you are perfect. I know this sounds weird. I want you to be okay with being consistently mediocre. If you are consistently average most of the time, that is more beneficial than you being perfect for 2 days out of the week, because that consistently average is what's going to keep you reaching your long-term goals at a very slow and steady rate. It may take a little bit of time, practice, and consistency. You may need a little bit extra patience, but this is when things get out of control and you can't be perfect. Go back to your small habits and do them most of the time. Those little tiny small wins each day. So say your goal is to just eat vegetables with 2 meals of your day. It's a very small win, but if you're doing that for 5 days out of the week, you're going to overall have a better outcome than someone who ate vegetables with 3 meals a day twice a week. So you got to just get up, show up every single day, and do your best. It's not always going to be perfect. I hope it's never perfect, because that means you're not human and you're not really being realistic with yourself. Just get up, show up, do what you can. Something is better than nothing. Okay? So for the next 2 weeks, something is better than nothing. My consistently average friends. I'm super okay with being consistently average. Okay, let me know what you guys have to think about all of this perfectionist mindset. I know we definitely have some perfectionists in the group in one aspect of your life. So I really like this talk. All right, going to talk about this week's mini challenge. It is another great one courtesy of Coach Vicki. We are going to be playing Healthy Habit Bingo. I have these bingo sheets here. I'm going to make another post with the link to print out these sheets for yourself. And they just have a little bit of everything on it, mainly like, a lot of self-care stuff. So eating veggies with every meal, making your bed, sleeping 7 hours, expressing gratitude to someone. You have to get bingo and post it to get your 7 weekly bonus points this week. So we're gonna play a little bingo, have a little bit of fun. If you haven't posted your meal plan yet for the week, please post that. Get me your weekly trackers, and let's get to week 5. Have a great day, everyone.